Welcome back to Element 14 Presents. My name is Mark. Oh wait, here I am. Actually, what you're looking at is the scary painting. And it's scary because I made it scary. Not only does it look scary, but I modified it with some electronics. And now each time somebody walks by, it will play a sound. And of course you can change the sound. You can have spooky sounds or funny sounds. That's totally up to you. And you can use this to spice up your Halloween decoration. And it's an anticipation of the annual Element 14 Community Halloween Hackathon, and you can participate. All you have to submit is a write-up, maybe combined with some photos or a video of your electronic project that is Halloween themed. Projects could be anything from Halloween decorations, Halloween costumes to props, or maybe something to scare your neighbor. The deadline for submission is the 9th of November, so there's still time for you to participate. So get involved if you dare. So that being said, let's start today's project. And it's all about paintings. Because what we're going to do is we take a scary painting. In this case, I made one of a clown. And of course, you can use any painting. And if you don't want to use it for Halloween, this is also nice for a cosplay or a prank. Maybe you want to make one of those Harry Potter paintings. This comes close. We're going to put it in a frame, and of course we're going to add some electronics. In this case I will be using an ESP32, a soundboard, a speaker, and of course a infrared motion detector. And all of that we're going to mix together, adding some wires. It's only a few. Probably you have this up and running within 30 minutes. So let's not waste any time, let's get started. So let's take a look at the schematic first. Okay, so we have an ESP32, we have a soundboard with a MUX 98357 chip for who wants to know, but I just bought it as a ready-made board, and you can just hook that up to your I/O lines of the ESP32 according to the wiring. And of course we have a motion sensor, a infrared motion sensor. It's also a board. It has two potentiometers that you can use to change delay time and sensitivity. We'll get to that later. And of course we have a speaker. So with only a few wires, I will not even bother to make a PCB. I'll just wire it directly and put it inside the frame. So let's start building. Okay, so I'm going to use this photo frame, and for that I will open it up to show you what we're going to do. Take away the razor and of course the PIR 2. And then basically, so first I'll put in the PIR 2, then I'll put in the picture of the scary clown, like so. Of course we have a razor, and then we have nice space to put the electronics later, and then this will go on top. So it's as simple as that. But first we have to make a little hole around here in order to put the infrared sensor. So that would be, let's say 29, that's 14.5 here. So we're going to make a little round there. Or you can just take this one, let's put this aside, and then reverse this like so, and then find the right space there. And then you make it round. So I'll just take this one, put it over there, and then I have a good indication. And then I just slice that one away. If you have better ways of making this all in paper, do let me know. Of course I can just use scissors. But I figured this would be easier. Assuming the knife would be sharp, but So again, this will be mounted there. Perfect. Now let's put it in frame. We'll have this one. Of course, we have the plexiglass that goes in front. Then we have painting. Yeah, the paper for stability I will add again later. Although I could do it now, because I don't need everything. That would be nice. Okay, that's where our board will go. And now that I have taken out the hood, you can also see that there's a little marking on the PCB that says ground, out, and VCC. So that would be ground, out, and VCC, like so. Right, the frame goes in here, let's not forget. That will go there. I will use hot glue. Of course, we have our ESP32 to be mounted. And since the power line will be coming from above, maybe it's best if I point it towards there. No, it doesn't really matter. We also have the speaker, and the speaker in this case is a speaker exciter, which will go to the back of the plate, so the whole back wall will become part of the speaker. Perfect. So for that I will remove this later and put the back plate in place. Should fit just fine, like so. Oh, that's perfect. Oh yeah, that's too perfect, almost too perfect, because you can actually feel the speaker touching it. Oh, that's perfect, great. Of course, we also have our soundboard that will also go here. So let's turn that around, put the soundboard somewhere here. I will remove the little green connector because it's sticking out. Okay, so let's do some soldering. Okay, so I prepared all the wires, I cut them to length. This is everything, all you need. The resistor is for the board, and it's actually a 100K resistor that you can connect to the gain input and the ground, and then you have the maximum volume available. Again, you don't need it. You can leave it out, it will still function without the resistor. So let's start stripping the wires. I have an easy stripper, and if you want to use a different tool, of course, that's fine. So these are all the wires I need to connect the audio board. And the next thing I'm going to do is solder them, I'll say. Let me do these wires stripping first, so that way it's easier. And normally I would advise to use pin headers or sockets to go with these boards. So basically that's done so I can reuse them over and over again. But for this, I think I like to keep it because every year it's Halloween, and I know for sure that this little painting with the added sound is going to be fun every year over and over again. So that's the stripping. So let me put some soldering on the stripped ends. Because when you solder the ends, it's easier to connect them to the PCB. Okay, now before I continue, I will glue everything in place. It's going to be here. And I just add a little glue like this. And then I wait for it to cool. In the meantime, I can glue down this one. Yeah, I know I'm a bit messy, but it doesn't matter. Should be the other way, like so. And that's that one. And of course we have the ESP board. And honestly, I can just glue it like Bob Ross does painting. It doesn't really matter. It's on paper and it will be covered as long as it stays in place. So the only thing left is the speaker. Put a little dot here and glue it. That's it. And then we can finally wire it up. So that's it. That's it's really quick and dirty. It fits the theme Halloween. It's really quick and dirty. It is. So we have the ground over audio board. Let's see if I have everything. And yeah, well, that's convenient because now I can use the two different grounds on the board. So we have this one. Yeah, I know what I did, but it's okay. I mounted the board in the other way. It just takes a longer power cable, but that's okay. And then this is the plus together with the audio board. Yep, maybe it's best if I fix those together. That would be nice. Wait, adjust that. So that's that. Then we have our output of the motion detector goes to D5, which is right here. Yep. Then we have, let me see this right. This one goes to LRC, which is D21. This one goes to D. Oh man, stay off the coffee. D21. The next one is B, goes to 19. And the one after that, D in, goes to 18. Yep, and we still have our ground. And I have a convenient spot for that as well. Like so. And all we need to do now is hook up the speaker and program the thing, and we're ready to go. So quickly hook up the speaker. And yeah, I did use long wires because if ever I want to change it to a different painting or a bigger painting, it's just there. So basically that's it. So we need to program it, and then we'll put on the lid. Let me show you what the front looks like. If we flip it over, it's like this. And all you see here is a little sensor. And that's it. And then if you want to do it perfectly, you could put the sensor, of course, somewhere in the painting. That's less obvious that it becomes part of the painting. But you know, this will do fine. One thing you need to know about the infrared detector, it has two potentiometers there, and they each have a function. There's this one, which is a sensitivity adjust, and you can use that to change its sensitivity, that it will respond to object further away or closer by. So if you have too many triggers of sound, you might want to take it down a bit, or you know, you want more triggers, you kick it up a notch. Then we have this one, which is the time delay, and this means you can set this as a timeout, that whenever a trigger was made, the time set here will be added before another trigger can happen. So if you have too many triggers, you can also change it by the delay time and saying, I don't want to activate this more than once every minute or half an hour. It's up to you. You can change that with that potentiometer. Okay, so for programming, we'll put in the cable. Let's go to Arduino Sketch. Okay, so first things first, I always start my sketch with the libraries and the versions I used, so it's easy to backtrace. In the future, if it doesn't work after new releases, then I can see which versions did work. So if you have trouble, look at the versions that are the same. One thing is important: if you're using Arduino, make sure you're using version 1 and not version 2, because version 2 doesn't have this function to upload sketch data. And we need that later. What you need to do is upload data for the audio files, and of course you need to program the Arduino itself. Later more about that. Then we have our definition of our I2S board, the audio board. If you're using different pins, you can change it here. Same goes for the I/O pin on movement detection. I'm using pin 5, so that's fine. A play flag I will use to see if a file is already playing, and when I start playing a file, I will set it and reset it when it's done, so it doesn't stop the audio while playing. The file list, this is important. These are the files I'm using. These are the audio files. If you want to change the audio files, you can change the name here and upload your file to the data directory. In the setup, we do some initialization of the pins, the serial port, the audio board. We set a default volume of 12. We start the first audio playing, because when the system boots, it will play one audio file called psst. And then we will feed the random generator, and then we go to the main loop. All it does is loop through this. It looks at pin 5 in this case to see if there is movement, and if there is a high level on pin 5, then it will start playing an audio file if it's not already playing one. And that's all it does, basically. We have a little subroutine that will print out on the serial port whenever a file is done playing. I basically needed that for compiling, that's why it's there. And that's all there is to it. So there's two things you need to do. First, you need to compile and upload, because eventually you need to upload. Okay, so to program, you select the right COM port. Make sure you have the right device selected. For me, that's a DoIt DevKit version 1. You press compile and upload, and when that is done, you need to upload sketch data as well. And that is actually when it puts all the files that are in your data directory, it will put on the SPIF on the ESP32. In order to use an ESP32, you do need to install the appropriate boards. For that, first thing you need to do is go to Preferences, and you make sure that you have, let's see, this line installed. Make sure it's here, if not, just add it. And then after that, you can go to the board manager and then search for the appropriate boards. Actually, it's an ESP32, and there are two ways, or two libraries as far as I know. There's the one by Arduino and the one by Espressif, and you need to have the one by Espressif. And as you can see, I installed version 2.0. You can use different versions, but the higher the version, some functions are no longer there, and I'm pretty sure it will work with this version, because that's what I did. So you can try a newer version. If it doesn't work, downgrade to an older version. And that's all there is to it. Have fun scaring your neighbors. This is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to visit the Element 14 project page. All the information you need to rebuild this project you can find there. And of course, you can leave comments or make suggestions, and I do my best to answer each and every one of you. And I'll see you next time.